So that's the question. 8V71, Spice 4-speed, pretty straightforward. Pulled valve covers, had pretty much all the injectors were stuck. Got those freed up, got the racks moving pretty good. Tempted to bar the motor over using the cam gear, and can only get about 15 degrees of rotation on that. And then it would stop pretty hard. It was kind of a clunk, but it sounded like it was coming from like the PTO end, like over by the transmission. Did some basic checking around, didn't pull or bang on it too hard, kind of started looking for something that might be causing it. Pulled the bottom off of the oil bath air cleaner. That looked really good for sitting for 23 years. We started pulling accessories. We pulled the alternator. That looked fine. We pulled the power steering pump, the pumps, the air compressor. All those things look good. Didn't affect that it would only turn about 15 degrees either direction. So it was a mystery. We were pretty much convinced it was the transmission because it sounded like it was in the transmission. But when we pulled the transmission top off, that looked good too. So we were down to pretty much pulling the oil pan, looking for some sort of catastrophic failure. Decided to take a few minutes, pull the intake window covers off, the block windows, and look at all the liners. They all looked good. No cracked liners. Pistons were pretty clean and free. Things would move. So we were stumped. We just kind of kept digging, trying not to hurt anything while we went. I got some video with my wife checking this out, and she was helping me we were originally thinking that possibly we weren't in neutral, because that's what it felt like. Felt like gear lash. So we messed with that a little bit. Turns out we were in neutral. That wasn't it. And we kind of got done, got ready to pull the oil pan, and decided to maybe check the blower. So I pulled the top off of the blower. Didn't get a lot of video or pictures of this, but I pulled the air cleaner and the emergency stop housing, the intake housing off the blower, and sure enough, while moving the cam gear back and forth, we would get a tiny little clunk out of one rotor, and the other one was froze solid. So decided to pull that rotor, or pull the blower, and take it back to the shop. And it was a real mystery. Kind of still is, but it was the blower. And I'll be posting that video here in a little bit. But we checked everything else first. It's always the last thing you check, I guess. So anyways, here's a little bit of video of us checking those different things, kind of going through it a little bit systematically. Which, to me, it looks like it's all the way in. Or, this is all the way out. Pivot's here. So that shaft's all the way in. I'm assuming that's not reverse. I don't know if when this selects reverse, if it moves that shift shaft and then it goes back. And maybe it's stuck in reverse that way. But it's definitely not neutral in that position. I'm assuming there's some sort of clutch issue because of this sweet spacer, which pretty sure it's not a GM part. It's a 1/2-inch black pipe tee. And this clevis back there was held on with a nail. But other than that, I cannot get it to turn. And pushing in the clutch doesn't allow me to turn it either. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, I wouldn't think that I'd be able to overcome the clutch. From what I can see, this spacer would actually be pulling the clutch off or disengaging the clutch. So I don't know what the issue is. My assistant, say hi, Meredith. Say hi that you love your beautiful new bus.
Not at this stage.
Oh, you don't? All right.
I didn't even think to bring my stove.
I have mine.
Give me a little crank action.
Ever since that day when my thermostat housing went, I got one of those little.
Yep, no, good. Can you give me a little wiggle on the cam gear there, Barb? Okay. Do it again the other way.
Oh boy.
Okay. Wait a minute, let me move now. Urgh. Okay, do it again. Okay, and one more time. Okay, that's it. Ow.
The check valve get your noggin?
Hey Chad, can you take a quick break from that and just give me a little wiggle? Alright, again.
Keep going?
Yeah, one more time. Okay.
So there we go. Blower is off. Intake Valley was pretty dirty. Like it'd been eating some oil or bad blower seals. And blower seals were definitely bad because you can see how filthy the rotors are. But it is froze up solid. It will not move. So in that picture, it's home on the bench, just getting ready for disassembly. We did take a minute to go back the next day, cleaned up everything around there, vacuumed out the block, got everything clean, and then got some penetrating lube on stuff and just generally got some oil on things so they wouldn't rust and kind of bagged it up and then called it a day on that.